You ready for our final exam?
Yeah, I guess so.
After Ryukishi has called us literal children for wanting the answers to puzzles handed to us. God, when I was editing those episodes, it came to me like, oh, that's what he's doing, isn't it? He's like, oh, yeah, you want the answers to the puzzles, you little babies? Here you go. This is what the games like that look like. Is that what you want?
The first Twilight.
Oh, God. All right.
Okay, first Twilight.
The tragedy of the first Twilight was discovered at 6 a.m. in the morning on the following day. Goda, who had woken up to get breakfast ready, went to check on the adult siblings, who had remained in the dining hall since the previous night because of the family conference. So they had... Okay. Tell us about when you discovered the crime. Why do we have purple?
Purple text!
Oh, the dining hall was locked up. Of course, there's a lock on the doors to the dining hall, but they usually remain unlocked. I knocked, but there was no answer.
Oh, and another detail that's going to be important here that we were talking about between episodes. There are 5 master keys, but only 4 humans that would have them. So there has just always been an extra master key floating around. Yes, Shannon has a master key. Yes, Cannon has a master key. It's the same master key that they have. There's just always been an extra. So, yay. That's when I arrived. Okay. I recommended that he try unlocking the door just in case.
Well, when I unlocked the door with the master key, a terrifying sight awaited me inside.
Eva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, Rudolph-sama, Kirie-sama, Rosa-sama, and Genji-san. 6 people in all were lying there, covered in blood. Okay. So let's use what we know about the characters and their motivations to kind of suss out what might have been happening here.
Okay.
We know that the adults are likely to get together to try to solve... are actually likely to get together to try to solve the epitaph after they see the letter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And are generally quite good at getting it done. It's the stuff that comes after. So, but this is them dying here in the dining hall. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think purple just means that that's what they're reporting to have seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is witness testimony.
Okay.
So, you can trust it as far as you trust the person telling it to you.
And the 6 in question.
Yeah.
We have Eva and Hideyoshi, so we have that sort of Eva faction. We have Rudolph and Kirie.
Yep, who would also have fallen, both of whom are generally suspicious of Kinzo being, alive.
Mm-hmm. So we have that kind of faction, because we've seen them play against each other. Rosa. So we have everybody except for Natsuhi and Kraus of the siblings.
Yes.
So they found out.
And Genji is here as well.
And Genji's here too.
Genji is here. Okay,
That's interesting.
Genji just might have been the servant on duty that night. Could be collateral damage, could be more important than that. We'll have to see.
But it makes sense, though, that of the people who died, the entire group of folks who were trying to leverage Kraus and Natsuhi die.
Oh, and we know that this can't be the explanation for what actually happened on the island if Ava's dead.
Yeah.
Or purportedly dead. Neither of these two are doctors. Yeah, all right. Well, let's see. So, they were likely in the dining hall discussing the inheritance and the epitaph. And they likely did a very good job of solving it.
Mm-hmm.
Would they have come back? Okay. Wait, why are you here? You're dead.
He's not yet. It's the first Twilight.
Oh. A great tumult followed. Everyone gathered in the dining hall.
I don't want to remember it. The sight of all the sobbing children crouched over the corpses of their own parents. There was a chance they might have been alive still. Everyone was shaking them desperately. But it was no use. Each of the children confirmed the deaths of their own parents.
Okay. And who confirmed Genji? Dr. Nanjo and I confirmed that Genji-sama was dead.
Interesting.
So Nanjo didn't confirm any of the other deaths. But then again, if your child is shaking you, the deaths had to be confirmed, which is interesting. So yeah, that's the detail that sticks out to me. There's that the deaths had to be confirmed, which means that they weren't killed in a way that was like visible, or like they didn't have their heads severed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's the kind of thing where conceivably, since Nanjo didn't check the other 5, they could have been knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a scenario where one of those 5 is not actually dead.
Mm-hmm.
They could be knocked out sufficiently that they won't respond, and you know, Maria thinks Rosa's still dead because she's 9. Just a thought. No one is going to mistakenly confirm the death even those other around myself. But that's in
okay,
purple.
so that seems to stand against it. That seems to say
Yeah,
that this
okay.
was such a gruesome
Well,
method of killing that no one
that's
could
what
be wrong.
Well, it depends on what purple truth means. If it's
Yeah.
just witness testimony, that's just what Nanjo is asserting,
Mm-hmm.
right? So people making assertions have motivations.
Mm-hmm.
He could
Plus,
be he could be lying about that, and they could be covering for Genji, who is
plus,
still,
sorry.
who could still be alive. They could be covering for him.
Yeah, and it's could be straight up true in that case still, even, right?
Yes.
Because no one's going to mistakenly confirm a death. That doesn't preclude lying about a
Oh,
death.
mistakenly. Yeah. I didn't even catch on the key word there. Mistakenly.
One could very well be 100% certain that a person is not dead and still confirm the death and not have confirmed it mistakenly.
Right. Okay. So we gotta be. Okay. We're not done with the 6 here, is what I'm getting. We're still kind of sus on. But
It looks like all the victims died instantly. Yeah.
after inspecting the interior of the dining hall, we determined that all of the doors and windows had been locked, making it a closed room. And in the case of the problem, it being a closed room no longer carries as much weight as it did, knowing that there is an extra key floating around.
Yep.
It's just a matter of who would have known about the extra key and who would have had access to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, when we know this, because Beato has said in red, there are 5 master keys.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 4 people who would have held them. Or 4 humans who would have held them. Let me be more, yeah. Yeah, nothing suspicious was found inside the dining hall.
Of course, there was no one hiding in the dining hall either.
Okay, I find that easier to believe, because naturally, all of us are here right now. It's clear that no one is hiding.
But Dad, if that's true, it doesn't make sense. 6 people were killed and the dining hall is a closed room. How could someone have killed them and escaped? I'd rather not think of it, but perhaps the servants with their master keys are the most suspicious.
They killed the 6, then left and locked the door with their master keys. It is a logical theory. And these so these two... Okay, so those 2 advancing it specifically, knowing full well that there is an extra master key, right?
And also the fact that the entire faction pressuring them were the ones killed, along with one servant to make it seem sus.
Yep.
But also, you know, servants have master keys. Where's Genji's master key right now? Is it in here or not?
We don't know where his is. That's true.
They could have just killed them all, called Genji, killed him too, took his master key, locked it up and left.
They don't even need to take his master key.
Assuming that they're the ones they didn't already have it. Assuming that the servants each have them.
Yeah, the servants each have one, which leaves one unaccounted for.
Yeah, so what I was trying to get across was even if the servants all have control of them.
Right. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Ah!
This would allow them to throw doubt on servants really well.
Because his explanation completely precludes someone just going in, killing them, taking the key, leaving, and locking.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sorry. And since they're very cavalier about trying to throw sus on the servants through this, right? They're the first ones to jump out to the fact they're like, well, it's a closed room. It could only have been the servants.
Yep.
So they are definitely on the sus. However, the problem is that they die soon after.
I mean, it makes sense. Someone figures out that they did the killings
And goes after them.
and goes after them.
What's interesting? Let me mentally. We'll talk about their deaths when we get to them.
Mm-hmm.
Since there was no chance of the culprit hiding inside the dining hall, it made sense to assume that the culprit locked the door after committing the murder and exiting the room. It was only natural that the servants with their master keys would fall under suspicion. And sadly enough, none of the servants had an alibi. Then again, it wasn't only the servants. Everyone else lacked an alibi as well. And did anyone check? Is there any way to look up from the outside without a master key? No, there isn't. Oh, that's not enough, though. I'll say it with the red truth. All doors can only be locked or unlocked with a master key. Of course, it is possible to lock or unlock the doors from inside the room, even without a master key. Okay, so then the two ways to do that are you walk in, kill them, take either Genji's key with you or take the free key with you and lock it up after, or you kill everyone, stay inside the room, and fake your death.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the... And then the person confirming your death is an accomplice.
Mm-hmm. There you have it. Any other questions? Shouldn't there be keys to each individual room in addition to the master keys?
Normally, those would exist. However, they make the game more complicated, so I've eliminated them. Red truth. We'll consider master keys to be the only keys that exist. Just red truth, real quick. Oh, in other words, all the locks that appear in this game can only be locked or unlocked by master keys.
That's what it means. It really is a simple game. In that case, we should now check the number of master keys and who holds them.
Because if she's changing the rules about the keys now, our knowledge about that there's an extra key might not matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There are 5 master keys. Oh! You're just gonna give that to... Okay. There are 5 master keys total. 1 is held by each of the 5 servants. Keys will be managed in a special way. The servants keep master keys on their person at all times, so it's impossible for them to be stolen, handed over, or used by any human other than themselves. Okay.
Interesting.
So Genji's key is out of the question then. Which still leaves us with the free key.
Yeah. But we now know that key is on a servant's person.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No,
So
the servants.
it just says the servants keep master keys, but it doesn't say all the master keys. It just
Yes.
means each of them has at least one.
There are 5 master keys total. 1 is held by each of the 5 servants.
But
2
there's
of
still
those
an extra
servants are
key.
the same human being.
Yep.
So, yeah, yeah. Oh, what the heck? Oh, they're sounding less like keys and more like a fingerprinting system.
That's an interesting metaphor. In other words, in the world of this game, it isn't the master keys, but the 5 servants themselves that can lock or unlock doors.
Okay. So thank you for stating it that way, Beato. Speaking of which, let's just real quick. Kinzo isn't even a dramatis persona in this game.
Okay.
Kinzo is not even factoring into this at all. They're not even... Okay. There's Nanjo. Who usually went in the spot next to Maria here? Was it... No,
Did anybody?
I don't think anyone... Yeah. Okay, so we've got... All 17? Yep, that's 17... Radical. We tried to retrieve Genji-san's master key, but had no luck.
To guard against trouble later on, we destroyed Genji's master key.
They did. Okay.
That's interesting.
This was the crime of the first Twilight. The scene was the locked, closed room of the dining hall. None of the servants holding master keys have alibis. And again, no one else had an alibi either. So, immediately, My first thought is that if keys work that way, the game master said in Reddit that keys work in this special way for this game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to be the case where someone took the key off, went in, murdered them, took the key off a servant, and did that. It'd have to be someone with knowledge of the extra master key, which still leaves still leaves the servants open, but also means that Kraus and Natsuhi, who've got the motive, right, are the most sus here. Everyone returned to the parlor to discuss what should be done next. The phones were out, so they couldn't contact the police. Was the mysterious culprit hiding away somewhere, planning to attack their next victim at this very moment? Or was the culprit in here with them, mentally sticking out their tongue and tasting their next prey? None of them had alibis, and any one of them could have been a culprit. And then they run upstairs, right, to go grab whatever thing that's so important. The mirror? Is it the mirror that's important? No. Because they die in Natsuhi's room, ransacking the place trying to find something.
I mean, we'll find out when we read it.
However,
Probably.
that tense feeling didn't last long. By midday, everyone got tired of arguing, and they decided to take a break. Kraus and Natsuhi announced that they wanted to talk with each other alone and went up to the second floor. Yep. That was the beginning, and after that, everyone went their separate ways now and then, such as to head to the bathroom or gaze at the endless rain. However, no matter how much time passed, Kraus and Natsuhi were the only ones who didn't return. Okay, so they're saying everyone kind of came and went. They're saying everyone had been gathered in the parlor. Kraus and Natsuhi left first.
Mm-hmm.
But over the course of that time, everyone else had come and gone from the parlor, even for something as mundane as the bathroom, so no one can claim that they, were always in view. Calls were sent to both Kraus and Natsuhi's rooms using the extension phone line, but there was no answer. Something might have happened. Everyone headed to Kraus and Natsuhi's rooms together. And in Natsuhi's room, they found Kraus and Natsuhi lying sprawled on the floor. No lock? Okay. Well, fuck me. All right.
Oh, Madam's room was locked. It's just like the dining hall.
After getting everyone's permission, I unlocked the door.
Kraus-sama and Natsuhi-sama lay sprawled on the floor inside the room. Dr. Najo checked their pulse. Then he announced the two of them had died instantly. What is with the fixation on everyone dying instantly?
Supposing that someone could have been dealt a lethal wound, then locked up, then...
I see. That's what they're guarding against. Is that so? It wasn't that they were poisoned earlier in the day and happened to die here. It was okay. So they're saying like, yes, they got killed at that scene. Got it. Okay.
I searched all over the room, looking for a clue.
Is that why it was ransacked?
In the end, I found that the windows and doors had all been locked, making it a closed room.
Another closed room. We servants all have master keys, so we'd be suspected again.
Oh, but have no fear. After Madam began to suspect us, we started keeping an eye on each other.
All of us servants were together the whole time.
So
You can
it was
trust
reprisal,
us.
huh?
What?
So it was reprisal. So they're like, oh, this was. So it was the three of them that. All of us servants can prove an alibi for all of the other servants.
Yeah, this works perfectly. So they're mad that Kraus and Natsuhi killed Genji along with the others.
Yep.
So they go as a group, all together.
Yep.
Finish off Kraus and Natsuhi, make a closed room, and leave, and then act all panicked, but they can all provide an alibi for each other.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. So you're saying that this closed room is even more complete? In the case of the first closed room, no one had an alibi. So for this closed room, all of them have alibis.
In this world, the servants themselves become living master keys.
I also don't know if, because Bern is changing the rules here, if we should consider Canon and Shannon to be acting separately from one another. I don't think so. I think knowing that and having that understanding is going to be part of the key to the final bit of the puzzle, but it's worth considering that might be, since the rules are different here, that might be the case. But I don't think so.
Since those servants have perfect alibis, it was impossible to lock Natsuhi's room. We decided to preserve the crime scene as it was.
Yeah, we put packing tape all over the outside.
Sorry.
We put packing tape all over the outside of the doors and windows, sealing them.
I'm sure the culprit left some sort of clue in this room. We made sure that no one would be able to enter or leave until the police arrived.
Then we did the same thing to the dining hall. We also sealed the dining hall in the same way. But the dining hall was sealed after the fact. Got it. The dining hall wasn't sealed until this point here.
Mm-hmm.
Our check conclusion that the entire mansion itself should be preserved. We also sealed the mansion itself, and all of us took refuge in the guest house. Interesting. Okay. They sealed the whole mansion. What? Packing tape on all the windows? They even used a ladder for the windows on the 3rd floor? The game would get complicated otherwise, so I simplified it. All the windows had steel bars on them, so it's impossible to enter or leave by them. Therefore, we'll say that they can seal the whole mansion by sealing the 2 doors, the front one and the back one. There are 2 doors to the mansion. The front door and the back door. That's it.
Is this, It seems like you've had a revelation, but I don't know what the revelation is.
No, the revelation is just that we get confirmation that the mansion only has 2 doors on it,
Okay.
which is neat. Got it. That makes it easy.
What do you think?
Actually, killing the 2 people in Aunt Nancy's room would be easy. Someone just had to knock and get them to open the door. They couldn't lock it afterwards.
Only the servants can lock doors, but all of the servants have alibis.
Yeah, because they were... Unless the servants are... Oh, okay, well, fine. Never mind. I guess we are clever.
we got to get used to the fact that, yeah, it'll bring it up.
Yep.
We'll get
Unless
there.
the servants are all in it together. More importantly, the first Twilight has to be suspicious.
You think that one of the 6 who died in the dining hall was actually alive and committed the crime?
Because of Erica. Can't help but be suspicious when people are examining corpses.
So, you think that one of the first 6 victims was alive?
Shit, I don't feel clever anymore. Now that they're bringing up everything we've talked about. Yeah, afterwards they killed Kraus and Natsuhi. They locked the door from the inside and hit the room and found a good chance to escape. But that could only have been Genji, under the rules of this game. Unless they had the extra master key.
Well, this suggests that they hid. They locked from the inside and hid.
Well, no one was hiding in the room.
Yeah, so that's
So, as one of the
interesting.
corpses.
So what he's suggesting doesn't line up with the purple that we
Yep.
got. But that's what he's suggesting, that someone locked from the inside and hid. That theory does make logical sense.
I'll say it in red. The culprit of the first Twilight really did kill 6 people.
Then I'll take a shot with the blue truth. Here is the true nature of this closed room.
Are we not going to get to do this? After setting us up for this whole thing, are we not going to get to do this? Okay.
We'll find out. The culprit locked the door from the inside, then hid in Natsuhi's room.
Oh, they're discussing Natsuhi's death now. Okay.
Then, after everyone left, they found an opportunity to escape.
Sure, I'll deny that in red. The group sealed the room at the same time that they left. No culprit joined the group as they left. Also, the culprit could have already been in the group, though. Also, all the seals on Natsuhi's room, the dining hall, and the mansion itself will not be broken. However, the dining hall being sealed well after the fact is important. So, if there had been someone faking a death in there, they could have gotten out at this point.
Interestingly, here's something that we get. The culprit of the first Twilight killed 6 people. We know that for sure. We don't know it was that 6 people. It could be that Genji was the one who did the killings, killed 5 people there, then by this time, later killed one of Kraus or Natsuhi, along with the group of servants after having escaped the dining hall after the death.
Yeah. That's good.
But then
If-
why would they have the reason to kill Kraus and Natsuhi if Kraus and Natsuhi weren't responsible for killing the other 5?
Yeah. Or it could be
Or
that
kill-
they go on to kill one of the other people later on.
Yeah.
So, it's worth
Well-
keeping an eye on those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they had an accomplice with someone that was pretending to be a body.
In other words, you can't use that trick where they hide under the bed and slip out later.
Interesting. Nice going, Berncastle. Yeah, so it could still be the case that Genji killed the 5 adults. Right. Like maybe that's not even they don't even need the motivation. They're just the servants are a faction and they're killing the adults off now because they wanna. Right? Game board logic. So it could be the case that Genji killed 5 of them in there, faked his death with Nanjo and Cannon to act as witnesses, killed either, and then was not part of the group later on, but maybe went on to kill another person afterwards. Nice going, Berncastle. Thanks. This was the crime of the second twilight. The scene was Natsuhi's room, a locked, closed room. This time all of the servants with master keys have alibis. The whole group, realizing the dangers of being inside the mansion, took shelter in the guest house.
Fourth twilight.
All those who took refuge in the guest house decided to hole up in there until the typhoon passed. There, if everyone watched everyone else, they should be able to prevent further crimes from both inside and out. However, they wouldn't be able to keep it up without any breaks until the typhoon passed. Once again, their actions left a weak point, open, and they were faced with yet another tragedy. Shannon, Sean, and Cannon-kun went outside on an errand and still haven't come back.
George Nissan got upset, so we all went outside to look for them.
Okay, so Shannon and Cannon left. And then we know Shannon's body is found in the Rose Garden, which would make sense if it was a reprisal killing by one of the adults. Okay. We found Shannon-chan lying there in the Rose Garden. Poor Shannon-chan.
I prayed she was still alive. However, I was forced to acknowledge that she was dead.
We all went outside to look for them. Okay, so the 2 of them left on their own, and then everyone went outside. Okay. Of course, also examined her and confirmed her death.
Oh, when the 2 of them left, we were busy checking the locks around the guest house. So, not one of us has an alibi.
When the 2 of them left, we were busy checking the locks around the guest house, so not one of us has an alibi. Ah, okay. So when they left, everyone had kind of scattered within the guest house. Got it.
Me? Kill her? How could I have killed her?
Yeah, that's right. George Oni-chan couldn't kill her. Yeah.
Later on, we learned that George Nissan alone had an alibi. At the very least, George Nissan couldn't possibly have killed Shannon.
See, that was my first guess, given just what we had last episode. My first gut was that George. But to turn it around, anyone other than the George Oniki could have killed her. Wait, why are you saying it like this?
For the culprit from using it for any mischief, we destroyed the master key Shannon-san had on the spot.
We're down to 3 keys now.
The time Shannon is killed, Cannon goes missing forever. From now on, Cannon is treated as being killed. Right, okay, so.
Cannon, who allegedly had a master key.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Also, his key is... Okay.
Okay, so so we're... No, because Cannon's master key is the same as Shannon's master key.
Good point.
It's not a separate key.
Not a separate key.
You don't let her do that. Ah!
Well, I thought it'd be rude, so I kept quiet about it, but that's what happens when Shannon dies. In other words, we can interpret this as Shannon and Cannon being killed at the same time, even though we're missing a corpse.
In case you haven't figured it out yet. That's right. Oh, looks like the crimes are moving along. This was the crime of the 4th twilight. The scene was the Rose Garden. There were no locks or doors. It wasn't a closed room. So the master keys were no longer a factor. Then the pace of the crimes began to accelerate. 5th twilight and 6th twilight. Everyone took shelter in the guest house. They carefully sealed all doors and windows, locking themselves in a closed room. However, several closed room murders had already occurred. Could locking themselves in a closed room do anything more than invite another tragedy? After arguing fiercely in the cousin room about finding the culprit, they decided that they should double-check Nanjo, Kumasawa, and Gota's testimony. And there, they learned that tragedy had occurred once more. Everyone took shelter. Who's they?
Let's read and find out.
About Goro-san. Oh. About Goro-san and Kumasawa-san's cases, such wounds would have resulted in instant death, I believe. There's a gruesome way to die.
Like hell they could survive with wounds like this. Goto-san and Kumasawa-san are both dead.
Well, you've been busy keeping a lookout and locking up and all that. Once again, none of us has an alibi.
That's not true. Look, if they were killed in that way, the culprit would definitely have gotten blood spatter on themselves.
Ew, but Dr. Nanjo and all the cousins have no blood splatter on them.
All of us, in other words, the 4 cousins and Dr. Nanjo, couldn't have killed Goto-san or Kumasawa-san.
Unless one of us had clothes to change into, I don't know. In that case, it's clear the culprit is someone other than us.
I guess that someone might have snuck in, so I checked around, but the guest house was still completely locked up.
Perhaps the culprit is a master key after all. It's impossible. No master keys exist anymore except the 2 keys on the 2 people who lie dead here. He says in purple because that's what he believes. Again, testimony, not fact.
Since the 2 master keys that exist are here inside the guest house, that makes this guest house a perfect closed room.
So it had to be someone... And Nanjo doesn't have a master... Nanjo might have been given one, but doesn't have one innately. So... either it's someone who knows about the extra master key, or it's one of the people who we thought was dead earlier that had a master key. So Genji, who we've already assumed might have gotten up at this point. But then why would he turn on those 2?
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any motive for if it's Genji. Is what's helped me off from...
Remember, there's no motive in this game. It's just a who done it. No how done it, no why done it.
Sure, it doesn't ask us for a motive, but when figuring out who done it,
yeah, that's
we
true.
would want to have reasons.
Of course we do.
Now, what I just realized,
Yep.
it said all the way back in room 1 that all of the children confirmed their parents' deaths.
Yep.
One of the adults in that room, other than Genji, doesn't have a child on this island. Kyrie. Does it count? Does it
Kyrie
count?
has a child on this island.
Who?
Battler. We spent the whole time arguing over this.
Sorry, I forgot that we already got the... My brain is not online yet.
No,
okay, so yeah, this counts. This counts,
okay.
yeah.
So I don't think that's the trick of it, but it could be that one of the adults was lying and in cahoots with their child.
Yeah. Who's talking right now?
Ew, so since someone's dead, obviously it wasn't perfect. Nah.
This was the crime of the 5th and 6th Twilights. The scene was the closed room known as the guest house. Goto and Kumasawa's master keys were also destroyed, meaning that all master keys have now been lost. Now no one can break into this closed room guest house. At least that should have been the case. So I guess the interesting thing will be, did someone get out of the mansion? Because if the mansion is sealed up...
Which it is.
Well, and the seal never got broken?
Yeah, we got told that, I think, by Bern.
Okay. So that means it's definitely not Kraus or Nazi, but it could have been anyone in the first Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This time, Dr. Nanjo was killed. He died in the entrance hall of the guest house. Far too foolish of him to come here alone to check that everything was locked.
He's dead. He's been killed. Even I can say for sure that this was an instant death.
Yeah, well, everything is locked up perfectly. How would it happen if this is a closed room? Means the culprit is one of us inside the mansion.
Impossible. Judging by the circumstances, Maria, Battler, George, Nissan, and I all couldn't have killed Dr. Nanjo.
So it did have to be so.
In the first place, no one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house.
Look at this. Simply put, this is proof that Dr. Nanjo didn't leave the guest house. Oh, they're talking like they're in a fucking mystery novel. That's why this is so weird. Okay.
Yeah, that means no one could kill Dr. Nanjo, right? So how was he killed?
No one could answer that innocent question. This was the 7th twilight. Once again, the crime scene was the closed room known as the guest house. Various bits of evidence made this crime seem even more impossible. Then the tragedy reached the 8th twilight, the final one. By now, it was clear that holding up wouldn't keep them safe. Jessica might have chosen anger as a way to numb her fear. She flew out of the guest house in a rage, searching for the culprit that surely hid somewhere outside. George, Battler, and Maria hurriedly chased after her. Inside the building, they found Jessica lying on the ground. So Jessica found whatever culprit it was, as anyone could tell at a glance, a gruesome corpse.
Poor Jessica-chan. She probably died instantly.
There's no way anyone could live through this. Yeah.
The three of us were together the whole time. George, Aniki, Maria, and I couldn't have killed Jessica.
Yeah. The three of us couldn't have killed Jessica.
As if Maria-chan could kill someone.
Ooh, hold on. Bop alert.
Maria-chan couldn't kill anyone.
Umineko will make a techno fan out of me yet.
Yeah, thanks. George Oni-chan couldn't kill an adult. He could kill a kid, though. Nah.
Oh, I don't understand it at all. What the hell is going on here? This was the 8th twilight. The crime scene was outside. However, the three who chased after Jessica have alibis. George, Battler, and Maria couldn't have killed Jessica. So is there really someone hiding on this island apart from the Ushiromiya family? The curtain is lowered on this tale for now. No, so it's okay, yeah, so it's one of the people we thought was dead earlier. That's all from my tale.
It's pretty well made. If you had a full-on reader, it'd stand up well against Beato's games.
I agree there. You did a good job.
Well, the real work comes from taking this, reading it, and making it worthy of proper theater going.
Still, I'm stumped. On the face of it, the culprit has to be some mysterious person outside the Ushiromiya family.
And that would be the same as acknowledging the existence of a witch. We can also suspect the existence of some accomplices aiding the culprit.
I know we've already asked for this one, but just this bop is really good again. By the way, what was all that purple text about? A new rule? I call them purple statements. It's a rule I made to make the story a bit easier to follow. Just think of purple statements as important spoken statements. In other words, you might be able to ignore the spoken statements that aren't purple. Oh, well, that's nice of you.
Then, are the purple statements as reliable as red truth?
No. Yeah. You can think of the purple statements as having the same power as red truth. However, there's one exception. A culprit can tell lies with purple statements. I see. Interesting.
A culprit only could be the one lying.
Interesting. Okay, so it's not witness testimony where they could be mistaken. Everyone is telling the truth with purple, and the purple are rules, except for the culprit. We might want to go back and reread this from a save at when we're... You see, turn it around. Anyone who isn't a culprit can't tell lies.
Purple statements. These seem to be the key to Lady Berncastle's game.
I love 7. All right. This is good music. Yeah, that's right. I'll explain the rules now that we're finished. The definition of culprit is one who murders. It's possible for the culprit to lie. It's possible for a culprit to lie even before committing murder. Characters who are not culprits speak only the truth. Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with the culprit. A culprit must carry out all murders directly by their own hands. A culprit must not die. A culprit must not be among the characters appearing in the story. Purple statements are absolute as red truths. However, the culprit alone may lie with the purple.
Okay, can we scroll back up real
That's
quick?
all.
I want to take another look at those, just to let it percolate. Okay, so the culprit has to be one who actually murders. So it can't just be a mastermind. It has to be someone with blood on their hands.
Right. Which doesn't rule out accomplices, but accomplices also have to be, doing murdering.
Yeah, if they are lying. Could be an accomplice doesn't kill anyone, and
be
therefore is telling the truth.
Mm.
It's possible for a culprit to lie even before committing murder. Characters who are not culprits only speak the truth. No, actually, you were right. I was wrong. You were right. I was wrong.
Okay.
Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit. So anyone who is an accomplice is themselves a culprit.
Yes.
There are only culprits and victims.
There are no accomplices. There are only people who are with blood on their hands.
Yep.
Got it.
And all culprits must have directly murdered someone and couldn't have died.
A culprit must not die, huh?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, so interesting.
So if anyone is definitely dead, they're not a culprit, nor
Yep.
could they have cooperated with the culprit.
Oh, this is going to be fascinating. That's all. The definition of culprit is one who murders. Makes sense. This is Beto.
It is possible for a culprit to lie. That seems reasonable enough, too.
It's possible for a culprit to lie even before committing murder. Well, no surprises there.
Characters who are not culprits only speak the truth. How convenient. Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit, right? So, the culprit can't make accomplices tell lies to match their version of events. So this rules out our idea that all the servants got together to get revenge on Kraus and Natsuhi unless each of them killed at least one of the people on the first Twilight.
Yep.
That would be the only way that could have been it, so that's probably not it.
Damn. My guess is that someone manufactured an alibi to cover for the culprit, but... Unless they're also themselves a culprit. Aw, too bad.
A culprit must carry out all murders directly by their own hands. In other words, there are no remote or indirect methods of murder, like traps.
A culprit must not die. In other words, they cannot commit murder, form a closed room, then commit suicide inside it.
Doesn't that also mean that dead people can't be culprits? That's a simple yet vital piece of information.
A culprit must be among the characters appearing in the story, huh? So this isn't about some mysterious stranger who snuck onto the island. The appearing characters are the same old 17 people after Kinzo is removed. No one else appears in the story, so no one else matters.
Purple statements are as absolute as red truths. However, the culprit alone may lie with purple statements. Now here's a troublesome one.
It might be the heart of this game. Does that cover all the game's basic rules? So, is the game trying to trap us into treating it like a logic puzzle then? Because my first instinct now is like, we can this is within logic. Like, we could figure this out. Besides that, I guess there's only the reader will tell no lies. In other words, outside of spoken statements, there are no lies in the narration. I could have added that stuff if I wanted, but it'd be a pain to make things complicated.
So you willingly abandoned a witch's privileges. You seem quite confident.
She probably plans to win despite that. It's all for me. I don't intend to give you any more hints or answer any more questions.
As the observer, I'll proclaim this once again. I guarantee that it's possible to pinpoint the culprit with this information.
Okay, got it.
I can't wait to get started. I can't believe the two of us are going to take on the same mystery together once more.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a real game between you and me. Oh, this is a real game between you and me. I recommend finding some paper and something to write with. That is, if you really intend to fight me. If you do get completely stuck, maybe you should listen in on Battler and Beato's reasoning. We'll have those be hints for when you get absolutely stumped and can't move forward. Still, I'd rather fight you one-on-one. I plan to enjoy our little duel. Then try defeating me by your own power alone without relying on hints. Let's enjoy ourselves, shall we? So I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to drop a save as soon as it starts asking us to... almost assuredly what's going to happen is they're going to start asking us who did this on which thing. I think what we're going to have to do is drop a save here, go back, reread, and...
I'd recommend we use something like the Red Truths archive or the Let's Play, because then we can just Control F and stuff and not have to scroll back and forward through scenes.
All right. Well, I mean, that's visually, like, it makes more sense for the audience if we have something.
Oh, okay, for the audience. I guess it depends.
Enjoy this game that I've created just for you.
There's a check purple button. That's so useful. We don't even need something outside of this.
Oh, let's drop a hot save right here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks, Ryukishi. You really thought of everything. Read again, show rules, check
All right,
purple,
let's
hints,
not click
culprit
hits.
select.
Okay, I dropped a save. Let's see what happens when we go to culprit select. Like, I want to see, like, do we get, like, choose multiple?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that like a hint?
I don't know. Let's see what show rules and check purple and stuff do. I just want to see what's available to us. Okay. Cool, so we get all the culprit rules anytime we want. We get the purple statements by character or chapter. That's great.
And we can just read again. Wow. Okay. This is a lot, but I guess we're fuck it. We'll do it live.
And then you want to check the culprit select?
Yeah, I want to see like what.
Yeah, let's see what that does.
It says select the culprit.
Okay. Let's check some purple text.
Look at Bernie's fucking face here.
Let's do it by chapter. Let's just kind of go through each of those twilights. See all those purple statements in order. Yeah, this is great. This is exactly what we need.
This is... I guess?
Yeah,
I
let's
rather...
look at 'em.
Okay.
Let's go to... The dining hall was locked up. Okay, so it could be that Kumasawa and Goda both collaborated to kill the people there. If that were true, it could be the case the door was never locked. That's one way out of it.
Okay.
If those two are both culprits. Okay.
And here's another... And remember, the culprit doesn't have to lie. They can lie.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just thinking of ways we can make this work. What we need is a way for the door to be locked and for it to be a closed room.
Let me reread. All doors can be locked or unlocked by... Servants keep the master keys on their person at all times, so it's impossible for them to be stolen, handed over, or used by any human other than themselves. Okay. So... Servants keep the master keys on their person at all times. I'm still, like, stuck on whether or not we should be treating... Clearly, Cannon runs off and is killed when Shannon dies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But should we be using the knowledge that there is an extra master key floating around? Or I think that might be extraneous for this.
Maybe, maybe not. I think it very deliberately doesn't tell us, so we don't know.
All right.
It very deliberately doesn't tell us that Shannon and Cannon are the same person.
Yeah. So I'm...
It's up to us.
Given that it's yeah. I think what we should try to do is try to solve it naively at first, without that assumption that there is just a free master key floating around.
Mm-hmm.
Given that how they've described it makes it seem like, for the rules of this game, Shannon and Cannon can be treated as separate entities.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll keep that in mind if we get stuck.
Okay.
All right. Possible locker and locked doors even without a master key. Okay. 6 corpses. Ooh. To unlock the door with a master key, terrifying sent Ava, Hideyoshi, Rudolph, Kyrie, Rosa, all 6 people, all there lying covered in blood. Everyone gathered in the dining hall. Why is everyone gathered in the dining hall in purple?
So that we know everyone went there. There wasn't someone elsewhere in the mansion.
Really? That means Kraus isn't lying.
What do you mean?
Because that's a... well, I guess that doesn't get us anything.
It seems like a kind of statement that one would want to know, right? Like, when you see a bunch of people have been killed
Yeah, just...
and everyone's gathered there, if you know that, then you know there isn't some unknown person X hiding elsewhere in the mansion who did the killings and isn't part of the group shown here.
Interesting fact here. Kumasawa doesn't say that they're all dead.
Mm-hmm.
Just says that they're all lying covered in blood.
Yep.
So Kumasawa, even if there is someone alive among the 6, Kumasawa doesn't have to be a culprit.
Yep.
Dining hall was locked up. Okay, so go to claims it was locked up. So I guess what we would want then, what's the smoking gun that we'd find here in the purple? The smoking gun would be if we find someone saying a statement that is clearly false in purple.
Well,
If someone is saying, if we can for sure say that someone has made a false statement in purple, that person has to be a culprit. Right?
Yeah,
that follows?
I have a feeling that won't be what we find, though. I have a feeling this will be like the liar's problem that they set us up for, right? Where we don't find it out because we know from the start that a statement is false, but that there's some combination of truths that can only stand together.
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
mean that we're gonna find one that when we look back like, oh, that is factually false.
Okay.
I mean, like, yeah, we're gonna like it's gonna be a logic puzzle. Okay. That's when Kumasawa arrived. Checking the corpses.
Okay, so interestingly, what do we get if any number of these folks, if any particular one of these folks is sus? That's kind of the way I'm thinking about it.
So if someone indeed lived among these 6, right?
Yeah.
Which would seem to someone. I guess we should get this out of the way at first. Someone who's dead, who we think is dead, has to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's just get that out of the way at first, because given the 8th Twilight,
Unless one of these is lying.
here's the thing: George Aniki, Maria, and I couldn't have killed Jessica. Maria saying 3 of us couldn't have killed Jessica. So that's 2 different people on that last Twilight saying that none of them could have killed them. That's important.
Mm-hmm.
Because unless both of them have killed other unrelated people, that means that's kind of a safeguard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because with both of them, that means they would have to both be lying, but they both can't murder the same person.
Can we check the rules again?
Yeah. What?
Anyone could be lying. A culprit is defined as one who murders. It doesn't specify they murder here.
Yes. Yeah, so like if they're lying at the end there, that means one of them has to be a culprit.
No, so to be clear, it doesn't specify they killed someone on Rokkenjima to be a culprit. If someone did a murder at any point in their lives, they could lie. A culprit is defined as one who murders.
You really think that
I don't think
after
that's it.
all of the lengths they went to make this
I don't think that's it, but what if it is? It'd be fucking funny.
It would be funny. I think there are going to be like little gaps in the rules, obviously. But I don't think that like, oh, they were killed. They murdered someone back in 1907, and therefore
Maria was out drunk driving, and therefore she's now a culprit and can lie at any time, even though her hands are clean on Rokkenjima.
Yeah, if anyone asks, it was her behind the wheel.
Okay.
Okay.
Tangent. Sorry for the tangent.
So
let's go back to...
let's get back to that one thing that was important.
Yeah, let's get back
Because
to...
we had 2 people saying the same. Oh. 2 people saying the same thing here, right? About who killed Jessica. Both Battler and Maria are claiming that none of that group of 3, George, Maria, Battler, could have killed Jessica, right?
Yeah.
So there are 2 solutions here. Either both Battler and Maria are culprits, or they both have to be telling the truth. And if they're both telling the truth, that means that there is someone who we think is dead, who is alive, who killed Jessica. And getting that piece of information, that someone is definitely alive that is dead, is important.
What I think is funny here, we get the statement that George doesn't confirm it and says, oh, but he only confirms that Maria can. But Maria says that, oh, well, George couldn't kill an adult, but could kill a kid. But at the same time, I think that's a red herring. I think that you're on the right track, that at the end of the day, the fact that Battler and Maria both say it, and they cover George in it, means that we can't be sus of George here, even though the wording leads it to look like we should be.
Right. Again, there is the possibility that Battler or Maria both did unrelated murders earlier on. I think for now we should proceed under the assumption that they didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it would make it a shitty mystery, probably, unless we had a reason to suspect.
Right. Like we don't know that this is the part we're supposed to start in on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's worth noting that under that logic, right, if we make the assumption that indeed, either both of them are culprits, which seems harder to believe since we didn't have reason to suspect them for any of the other ones, or they're both telling the truth here, which means that someone who isn't among those three killed Jessica, which means someone who's dead is actually alive. And knowing that means we should be watching out for a fake corpse.
Yes. Interestingly, here's something this does not establish.
Yep.
It does not establish that all three here are not culprits. Any of them could have done a different prior killing on one of the other Twilights. Because I was about to go about this the whole wrong way and be like, okay, so this means I shouldn't be sus of these three, but that doesn't follow. It just means this final one. So it's exactly as you say, and no more. I was about to go too far.
Again, it could be the case that one of them murdered someone earlier, but again, like let's say Maria murdered someone earlier, right? And then Maria came up and murdered Jessica. Battler wouldn't be able to say that Maria couldn't have killed Jessica then, unless Battler was also a murderer from earlier. So yeah, that's why it's either both or nothing with those two, which is fascinating.
Let's check the earlier purple truths. Now that we have,
all right, should we check by character now that we? Now that we've established a link between the truths of Maria and Battler, like the two of their truth statements are linked to one another now.
Yeah. Personally, I'd love to see them in order.
Okay. So
just to get a refresher on exactly what happened and what we have in purple.
Should we go back to the first?
Yeah. So for the first, we have the 6 corpses. That's Goda and Kumasawa. Cool, we went over this. Then we have checking the corpses. Jessica, Shannon, Nanjo, and Maria. Interesting.
Shannon says each of the children confirmed the deaths of their own parents.
Shannon says Dr. Nanjo and I confirmed that Genji was dead. And Nanjo says no one is going to mistakenly confirm a death. Interestingly,
it was no use. Each of the children confirmed the deaths of their own parents. So she's saying that. So Shannon here is making a statement with some truth, with a truth value to it. That each children confirmed the deaths of their. If she is lying about that, not only does that mean that she's a culprit, that means one of the children didn't confirm the death of their own parents, which means one of the children. If that statement is false.
Yeah, if the statement is false, it just means Shannon's lying. The kids didn't all get together and say in purple, I confirm that my parents dead.
I guess so, yeah.
So if Shannon's lying, it gives us the most leeway. It could be that any child had not correctly reported the death of their parents. And if Nanjo's telling the truth, we know it couldn't be a mistake, but they could have deliberately done it and lied and not been a culprit about it either, because they weren't speaking purple. They didn't speak at all. We only hear what Shannon says.
But Nanjo says no one is going to mistakenly confirm a death, even those other than myself.
Yep. So no mistakes, lies only.
If Nanjo is telling the truth.
Yep.
If Nanjo's a culprit... If Nanjo's a culprit, that leaves the leeway out for Shannon's statement to be a little bit more fluid. Because then children can still mistakenly confirm deaths.
So that's interesting. Shannon or Nanjo, either of them lying. leaves up the opportunity for one of the adults to be the one that's alive.
Yeah,
But-
because we don't have the statements from the children about their parents in purple.
Yep.
Just statements about those statements in purple.
Then so that either of them are a culprit, that gets us one of the parents is alive. What would get us if Genji is the one alive? Would it need to be
If
both?
Genji was the one alive,
Would it need to be both Canon and Nanjo, or just Canon? Yeah, I guess just Canon.
no, Canon and Nanjo would have to be lying if Genji was alive.
Would Nanjo have to be? What
Yes,
Nanjo
because
says?
Nanjo's statement that no one is going to mistakenly confirm a death would be a lie.
It wouldn't. It wouldn't be a mistaken confirmation of a death. It'd be a lie about a death.
Yeah. Okay. I'm never sure how deep to get the weeds on this, but yeah, okay, that's fair. So if Genji is the one that's alive, and given the shape of the murders later, the most likely place for someone, because let's get this logic out of the way. Kraus and Natsuki got sealed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we know that the mansion was never opened again? Well,
do.
it must have been. It must have
Yeah.
been. Or
we know it's sealed.
we know
Yeah,
it's sealed. It remains sealed for the entire
Yeah.
time. So what that means then is that the unknown culprit had to be among the 6 in the first Twilight. Because Kraus and Natsuki gets sealed up immediately.
Mhm.
There is leeway for the first Twilight. There's a time between when they were confirmed dead, and when when the room was actually sealed up. So that's the time when they would have had to have gotten out. Okay, so if we're looking for a person among the first 6 who would be alive. Right. So if one of so can we agree to that as far as that assumption goes? Is the logic sound there so far? The train of logic leading to one of the 6 in the first Twilight has to be alive.
Probably. I haven't thought that far ahead. I've been trying to focus on the going through again what we get and seeing,
Okay.
what would have to be the case for someone to be lying, what might be a result. So I haven't really thought that far ahead yet. But
Okay.
I think that sounds like what we should be getting toward.
Okay.
I think that you are probably right.
Because if that's the case, then we can start picking at that scab right now and determining, like, if someone, like you're saying, we're determining if someone here was alive, who would have to be lying.
Mm-hmm. My thought just being like going through these in order and figuring what can we get out of it. So, for example, what I have so far here is if Goda lied, it could be the case the door wasn't locked and anyone in the mansion could have done it. If Shannon or Nanjo lied, an adult could have been the one alive. Or if Canon lied, Genji could be alive. I'm just trying to get those kinds of high level, like here's what would have to be the case
I got you.
in each
Yeah.
scene. So we can establish like what combination of liars would work.
Okay. So let's look at closed room crime scene. Kraus says in purple, after inspecting the interior of the dining hall, we determined that all the doors and windows had been locked, making it a closed room. And we get in red later on that windows and stuff, just windows don't play a role in this game.
Mm.
And nothing suspicious was done inside the dining hall.
Of course, there was no one hiding in the dining hall either.
Naturally, all of us are here right now. It's clear that no one is hiding. Okay. So no one's hiding, so everyone is in full view. Right. Turn all the doors and windows have been locked, making a closed room. Okay. I don't think there's anything here that's... Nothing suspicious was found, yeah. That, none of these statements are ones that, like, seem like they might be lies.
Yeah, and I think this...
These all seem innocuous.
and I think this already kind of rules out one of the earlier things from Chapter 1 I had thought. Because I had thought, if Goda lied, maybe the door might not have been locked and anyone could have done it. But this would also mean Kraus would have to have lied as well.
Yes.
So it would require that Kraus and Goda were in on it together. And we seem pretty sure that Kraus dies. Wow, that was a weird sneeze.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that pretty much puts it on Shannon, Nanjo, or Cannon has to have lied. So far, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's it for...
Okay. Wait. Genji's master key?
Genji's master key was destroyed.
Okay, he says we destroyed Genji's master key. Okay.
And that's just before...
And
Yeah.
then we get this. 5 master keys. 1 is held by each of the 5 servants.
Yeah, okay. So I'm thinking... yeah, okay. So I'm thinking our master key logic from earlier that's going to help with the main game isn't going to actually apply here.
Yeah, I guess this just means Shannon has 2 keys.
Or Shannon and Cannon are acting separately for the purposes of the story, and Cannon then runs off. I think either way we interpret it, that's going to be fine.
Okay. Let's see that second Twilight. Goda, once again, is the one confirming it's locked. Goda's confirmed that the rooms were locked both times.
Yep. Shannon then says that she unlocks the door. So if the door isn't actually locked, both Goda and Shannon have to be lying.
So that seems rough, given that earlier Goda and Kraus would have to be, and this time Goda and Shannon would have to be. So, and I think that's too many culprits, especially given that Kraus is about to die, unless Kraus doesn't die and gets taped into his own room. So,
No. And Cannon, this statement is vacuous. Kraus and Nazi lay sprawled on the floor. Okay, yeah. It says nothing. Battler. Nanjo checked their pulse, and he announced the 2 of them had died instantly. Battler is saying that. Okay. But Nanjo confirmed both their deaths. Can be no doubt they died instantly.
Okay, so Battler and Nanjo would both...
I don't think this is where... Because, again, they get sealed up after this. There's no value in assuming that either of them stay alive. Because if they're alive, they're just locked in a room and doing nothing for the rest of it. Like, that gets us nothing to assume. Again, like, we need to be paying attention to what has to be true for someone in the first Twilight to...
And Jessica's the one that finds it's a closed room.
Yeah.
Okay. All of the servants were together the whole time. All of the servants can prove an alibi for all of the other servants. But that's just Shannon and Cannon saying that. What if they're lying? It could be another servant did it. Shannon's covering for that other servant.
So Shannon would also have to have murdered then.
Yeah. So if Shannon and one other person amongst the servants are killers, that might be the minimal arrangement so far. Suppose it's the Genji thing. Cannon, who is Shannon, lied. Genji is still alive. Shannon and Cannon are lying here because all of the servants were not together. All of the living servants were together, but Genji, who was secretly alive, wasn't. And he went and did the killing here.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So yeah, if Genji was the one that lived, then this statement has to be a lie. Which would mean Shannon and Cannon were the culprits of the first Twilight? Which means Shannon is the culprit of the first Twilight. All the servants were together the whole time. Yeah, and then Cannon would have to have lied about Genji's death.
And it doesn't require Nanjo to lie because Nanjo made a tricky statement.
All right, let's see what they say about preserving the crime scene. Packing tape all over the outside of the doors and windows, sealing them. Okay. Made sure that no one would be able to enter or leave until the police arrived. So if one of them was a lot... Well, I mean, yeah, that's not... We get it in red on the seals later, so that statement gets us nothing. We did the same to the dining hall. We'll seal the dining hall the same way. Again, gets us nothing because that seal is too late to be meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
So he could be telling the truth about that, and it wouldn't actually help us. Entire mansion itself. I'll seal the mansion itself until all of us took refuge in the guest house. Okay. Again, meaningless if they've already left.
Yeah.
So none of these statements really help us. All windows seal bars in them, so it's possible to enter or leave by them. Seal the whole mansion by sealing the 2 doors, front one and the back one. Cool. Go up with the first twilight. Really did kill 6 people. That's important.
So that's it. Culprit singular. Culprit singular.
Group sealed the room at the same time they left. No culprit joined the group as they left. Also, all the seals in Nazi's room, the dining hall, and the mansion itself will not be broken. Okay, yeah. Okay. So then it has to be the case that so again, if we want to, we know from the thing later on that it's someone has to be faking their death earlier on here. If it's one of the people in the first Twilight, then they have to have not only killed everyone else, they have to kill 6 total people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't necessarily have to have killed 6 people there, but like at least one of they'll go on to do one more murder, which is what we believe.
And maybe 2. It doesn't say only 6.
It doesn't say only 6. At least 6, right?
It just says that they really did kill 6 people. That's true if they also killed another.
Yes.
They still killed 6.
Yes. Okay. So
I feel like this works easiest if it's Genji. And Genji kills the other 5, fakes death, escapes later once folks have left, goes and kills the other 2. Shannon and Cannon are covering. Oh, but Shannon would have to have killed.
Hold on.
To guard against trouble later on, we destroyed Genji's master key. Okay.
So that's weird because that means that if Genji was the one that did it, stolen, handed over, or used by a human other than themselves. If that was true, how could Nazi have destroyed it?
And it seems like it doesn't say that they can't destroy it. It says it can't be handed over and used and so on.
Okay, so that's interesting then. That means that that means that Genji doesn't have his master key to do any of the murders later on.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I think is fine.
Mm-hmm. Because we're already supposing Shannon or Cannon would have to have lied if he were alive.
Yeah.
Which would mean they'd have to have done one of the killings. This would
Or
rely
would
on...
do one of the killings. Or will do another killing.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, you don't have to kill and then you're allowed to lie. You can lie and then kill.
Good catch. I hadn't thought that, even though it said it directly. So, that I think makes it a lot easier if Genji is the one that's killing so far.
Okay.
Shannon Cannon covering for him.
So let's
they later do a
tease
killing.
this. So let's tease this theory out a little bit more. Then what? So if Genji is the one that's alive,
then Cannon would have to have lied here in checking the corpses.
right here.
Yep.
So Dr. Nanjo and I confirmed that Genji Sama was dead. Okay. So that means Cannon is lying here.
Mm-hmm.
Children confirmed the deaths of their own parents. Yep. So that means only Cannon has to lie there.
Yep.
And that means Cannon is another culprit.
Yep. And then when we jump ahead, Cannon and Shannon and Cannon are the only ones that guarantee an alibi for all servants for the second Twilight.
All of us servants were together the whole time. So that would have to be a lie.
Yep.
And then all of us servants could prove an alibi for all the other servants. Interesting.
Yep. Which would also have to be a lie.
So here's the thing about that. Genji has to... so both of them have to have killed... Both Shannon and Cannon have to kill someone.
Mm-hmm.
Which they do... So presumably Shannon and Cannon each kill one of Natsuhi Kraus. Genji has 5 kills on his hands from the first Twilight. And then presumably he's the one that's free to kill someone in the final... Actually, before we get too much not in this, or before we spin this out too much farther, can we think about
I'd love to continue reading
5th, 6th Twilight? Because
Sure.
these two needed a key to get in at,
Yeah.
right?
I figure we should probably continue reading and ordering, just getting what we can,
Yeah.
rather than trying to nail down a theory and stick to it the whole time.
All right.
Because we find new stuff each time we read one.
Shannon can advantage.
Okay, so we all go to look for them. George was forced to acknowledge that she was dead is a weird way to phrase it. That's a fucking... Like, it could be that she wasn't dead and George was forced to say it.
No, but oh, they can only tell the truth.
If
Does
they are...
does that work within the rules?
I was forced to acknowledge that she was dead is perfectly compatible with her not being dead and George being forced to acknowledge it. George doesn't say she was dead. He says he was forced to acknowledge it.
Okay.
And if she is dead, then
Yep.
she couldn't have lied earlier. So it couldn't be the case that Genji was free.
Because culprits don't die.
Yeah.
Right, culprits don't die. Right. Okay. So does this work with our rules on accomplices? Because how does the accomplice
Let's check.
rules work?
Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit. Ooh.
Characters
Good thought.
Who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit. Culprit must not. Okay, may not. So that would mean George also has to be a culprit. Are we?
And Nanjo. So that'd be a pickle, huh? Regardless, let's see what else we got.
When the two of them left, we're busy checking the locks door of the guest house, so not one of us has an alibi.
George couldn't kill her.
Okay, anyone other than George could have killed her. George couldn't.
At the very least, George couldn't have killed Shannon. Anyone other than George could have killed her. So if we suspect that George killed Shannon, that means that if George killed Shannon, that means Jessica and Battler both have to be lying.
Yep.
Or could have killed her. That's a really wormy way to state.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I'm noticing here, Battler here says anyone other than George Aniki could have killed her, but later we hear that Maria couldn't have killed anyone. I don't know if this is just a technicality, but those seem like a straight contradiction to me. I think that's not actually a real thing. Just like...
Anyone other than George could have killed her. What was the...
Maria couldn't kill anyone.
From George.
Yeah. Maria couldn't kill anyone, but anyone other than George could have killed Shannon. If we're taking strict, like, it means exactly what it says on the tin, then that's a contradiction. I don't think that's real, but just saying.
Okay.
Seems like a weird little bit of wording. Okay, so...
Let's see. Not one of us is not right. That's right. George Angel couldn't kill her. Ooh, later on. Cannon is treated as being killed. Shannon's master key is being treated as destroyed.
We skipped the Shannon's master key? Okay.
And Shannon's was destroyed on the spot. Okay. So this is important later because of... So Goda could be lying about this. But let's see. He's about to die, so...
Mm-hmm.
Goda-san and Kumasawa-san died instantly, according to Nanjo. Again, that's a vacuous thing to lie about. Goda and Kumasawa-san are both dead, according to Jessica. Okay. Alibis. Once again, none of us has an alibi. Okay. Is this a contradict? None of us has an alibi, according to Battler. And then Jessica says, in purple, the four cousins Dr. Nanjo couldn't have killed Goda-san or Kumasawa-san. Is that the same thing as an alibi? No, that's not the same thing as an alibi.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of ambiguous, huh? Four cousins and Dr. Nanjo, says Jessica. Four cousins and Nanjo couldn't have done it. And they're the only ones left at this point. Allegedly. In the way it's being framed. So unless Jessica is lying, it must be the case
that someone we think is dead is
that
alive.
someone we think is dead is alive. But if Jessica is lying, it could be the case that one of them here... It could be the case that one of them here did it. It could be that something is wrong about this.
Were they in a locked room? So the guest house was locked up, so it was just someone in the guest house. So the two people who lie dead here. Right, but that's fine if someone snuck into the guest house out of the original first Twilight.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's also fine if it's one of the folks here, and Jessica was lying.
Yep.
Interesting.
Okay.
This is a toughie. Wait, so which... okay, that was the 5th and 6th?
Yep. Okay, interesting that, what do you mean everything is What do you mean is everything is locked up perfectly? What does that mean?
That it's a closed room. Perfect closed room. Probably. Unless it's a weasel word. We don't know.
Yeah.
Over you, Kishi.
Maria, Battler, George, and I couldn't have killed Dr. Nanjo.
Okay, so...
Jessica's claiming none of them could have killed Dr. Nanjo. And George saying is no one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house. Wait.
One of them must be lying.
Wait.
One of George, Jessica, and Battler is lying. One of those three has blood on their hands.
Maria, Battler, George... So Jessica claims Maria, Battler, George, and I all couldn't have killed Dr. Nanjo. So that has to be false. So if that's true, someone is alive. That shouldn't be. George, no one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest. That's just patently false. Right?
I mean, so thinking about it though, thinking about it with the others, it could be true, but it would mean that Battler would have to be lying if that were true.
And Battler says, look at this. Simply put, this is proof that Dr. Nanjo didn't leave the guest house.
It could well be that no one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house, but he left and died, if Battler were lying. Or it could be that George is lying and Battler told the truth, but at least one of them has to be lying, right?
Where was he found? Is just everything is locked up? Was he in a room, or do you mean everything is locked up? He was in the hallway of the guest house.
He was just found in the hall.
So he's just in the guest house. So if George is saying no one could kill Dr. Nanjo in the guest house, we don't know that it's an instant death, which I guess it could have been that his body was dragged inside.
Mm-hmm.
But no, because the guest house was locked, was sealed up. We know that none of them have master keys. So So someone here has to be lying. Okay.
Yeah, at least one. At least one.
At least one of those three has to be
A killer. So,
Maria, Battler, George, and I. All couldn't have killed Dr. Nanjo. So
if Jessica is lying, George also is.
hey, what does this remind you of?
The liar's puzzle?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I figured we'd be getting to. So if Jessica's lying, George also is.
If
George could be lying alone, or Battler could be lying alone, but Jessica can't be lying alone.
Jessica can't be lying. Maria. It's because if Jessica is lying,
If one of them could have, then someone could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house.
yeah. I just can't get over that. It feels like George's statement has to be false on its face, right?
Not necessarily. Could be that there's something about the guest house that makes it impossible.
Well, that's
to
where
kill
they
anyone
found the
inside it.
body in the guest house.
Yeah. It could be true. If Battler was lying and if he left the guest house.
Right. Or okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. And then his body got moved. Got it. Okay. So if Jessica is, so then who here is telling the truth?
We don't have enough info to know. We just know that at least one of these three.
Well, let's
Is a killer.
do it like this. If George is telling the truth, right? No one
Mhm.
could kill Dr. Nanjo in the guest house.
Then Jessica is telling the truth and Battler must not be.
So, okay, so we can establish some dependencies here then.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what we had just done earlier. So either Jessica and George are, or
Yeah.
just George, or just Battler.
Just
Those are
George.
the dependencies we have.
Either Jessica and George, or just Battler.
Yep.
How does the Jessica? Because no one can kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house.
If Jessica's lying,
If
one of the kids could have killed Dr. Nanjo. If that's true, George is also lying because someone could have killed Dr. Nanjo. Actually, no.
I was gonna
It
say
could
I
have
don't
happened
think that
outside the
follows.
guest house. It could be Jessica and Battler. If Jessica is lying, one of the other two is. Good catch.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So it's either Jessica and George, Jessica and Battler, or just George, or just Battler. So if Jessica's lying, someone else is lying. But if Battler or George are lying, they could be lying alone.
Okay, so if Battler is lying, then it could be Jessica and George are still telling the truth. Yeah. Okay.
And interestingly, this is all totally separate from the previous Who's Alive from the first Twilight thing lead that we were chasing.
Yeah. This is a sticky wicket. Okay, interesting. Is one of the four the culprit? Right. Okay, so maybe we were barking up the wrong tree earlier. Okay, so either Jessica. So, okay. Sorry, I'm still trying to wrap my head around because all kill Dr. Nanjo. No one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house. So if Jessica's lying, then one of those two has to be lying because
He'd have to be killed somewhere.
couldn't have killed Dr. Nanjo, or Jessica could be. Because more importantly, if Jessica is lying, that means Maria, Battler, or George, or her have to be the one that killed Nanjo. Specifically.
Well,
That is the only way that statement
she
is.
says could have. So it could be that she's lying and still someone else did it.
I guess.
It'd be weird.
Yeah, it'd
But
be
it
a little
could.
weird.
And then the final. If Jessica actually dies, then she wasn't lying. George and Maria both
George
say
is
that
saying she probably died instantly. But again, if he's not an accomplice, he can't cooperate. So
George and Maria both say she died.
Battler claims that. Okay, so if. And then we get this nod again at the end here.
So,
George, Maria, and Battler couldn't have. According to Battler, George, Maria, and I couldn't have killed her. Mario says the 3 couldn't have killed Jessica.
Okay, so George and Maria both confirm she dies. So if Jessica doesn't die, George and Maria would both have to be killers. If George and Maria are not both killers, Jessica's not a killer. So I think we finally have a hard dependency on killers who rule out other killers.
Okay.
Finally. If Jessica is a killer... Wait. No, I think I got that wrong. If Jessica is a killer,
Yeah.
then she must be alive, which would mean that George and Maria would both have had to lie in the previous one.
Which would mean they're also both killers then.
Yeah.
That seems like too many killers. No, not necessarily. So okay, so if Jessica is a killer, that means also George and Maria have to be killers as well.
Yeah. And that's in the previous one, Jessica's corpse. Can we just double check that?
Yes. Well, George didn't lie.
Probably died instantly. Maybe she didn't die at all.
But but if he's cooperating, then he has to be a killer.
Yeah. Okay, and then when we go back to who killed her, we get the 3-way thing that you caught earlier. So, Battler and Maria both say the 3 of them couldn't have killed Jessica. George says Maria couldn't kill anyone. That's interesting. Maria says George couldn't kill an adult. He could kill a kid, though. If George and Maria are both killers, they could both be lying, but that wouldn't help us. Battler would also have to be lying. All of the kids would have to be killers. Am I following this right? Did we just establish that all of the kids would have to be killers if this was the case?
So spin this out for me.
Okay, so
walk me through your entire chain here.
we know that at least one of Jessica, George, and Battler is a killer. We know that if Jessica is a killer... Okay, sorry. That was where... I think I see where I made the mistake. So, sorry. I would... Can we go to the 8th pilot again? The who killed her?
Yep.
Yeah. So, we already know at least one among Jessica, George, and Battler is lying, is a killer. Jessica has allegedly died.
So if Jessica hasn't died,
then George and Maria are both lying, and in turn Battler must also be lying.
yes. So that means all 4. So if Jessica is a killer, then all 4 of the children are killers. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I'm not... Come to think of it, I don't know that that's airtight logic that I had, because Battler says George, Aniki, Maria, and I couldn't have killed Jessica, and that would be true if Jessica was alive. That would be true if Jessica was alive. So Battler wouldn't be lying if they couldn't have killed her, nor would Maria. Those statements could be true if Jessica was alive. No one could have killed her if she's alive.
Okay.
So we could do with as few... my logic was wrong.
Okay.
If Jessica is a killer, then George and Maria must be. From the previous page.
From the previous...
Yeah, where they confirmed that she's dead.
George... Right, because it's slippery, right? You're like, you can't... A non-accomplice can't aid an accomplice.
Mm-hmm.
Or an accomplice has to be also the killer. Okay. Yeah, so there's no, like, helping through slippery wording and shit. Okay.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.